Welcome back. Got some flair today. We should have some guests. We're going to do the AV checks before we get going, per usual, because things like to break all the time with this application. So we'll check Twitch first. Make sure we're live. We are live. How about that? I worked on the first go today, and we're also streaming YouTube. Perfect. Awesome. Well, we are good to go then. So whenever the guests hop on, we'll start working with them. Until then, let us go ahead and get stuff set up to go. So, hey, what's up? How's everyone been? If you are look at this later, let me know in the comments. Yeah, we're going to be doing some more hacking today. I think one guest is studying for her Security Plus certification, so we're going to help her understand the cybersecurity world from a practical standpoint and help her get a better understanding of her questions. Our other guest, who will be on here hacking, and we're going to have him share his screen as he's hacking through stuff. We're going to basically, yep, just help him get better, give him feedback as he's working through his challenges. And we're going to be in Hack the Box per usual, or not Hack the Box. Dang, Try Hack Me. We're going to be in Try Hack Me per usual. Um, and he's already sent me ahead of time what we'll be working on, which is perfect. And I'm going to go ahead and get my screen prepped up here. So hopefully they pop in the studio shortly. And maybe we can knock out something in the meantime. Let's see, close tabs to the right. Perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and get that up there. Let's check Discord. It looks like we got a message. I'll move Discord up to the top, maybe. Screen sharing always seems to affect my ability to get stuff to actually work. Hang on one second. I, I don't know why, but it does. Let's see. All right, let's try that one more time. Got AJ texting me in our Discord channel. He needs to just hop in here and talk um, instead of typing. I'm a working man today. I don't know what he's doing. All right, so let's see if TryHackMe logs us out again. I think it does almost every time pretty consistently, just logs us out. Um, what we were doing before is we were working our way through the offensive pen testing track before to just do it and see what happens. Something to point out, they do have advanced endpoint investigations now, which is kind of cool. I do want to, do I want to switch my screen? So I have two screens like stacked on top of each other. And I can't decide what I like better. Working off the top. That's why I'm looking at the top now because I'm looking at the screen I'm sharing or not. So let's see. Let's view path and find us something we can work on. Next achievement is completing Mr. Robot. Okay. Um, we'll do these later because I don't think there's going to be a ton of fun stuff for us in there. There's Skynet. This is what we were working on quite some time ago. I wish these would um, tell us the difficulty. Let's go look at this. Oh, this is the easy one. Let's start this machine. Large screen recommended. Great. Good thing I have a large screen here. And hopefully everyone can see this and we will get a terminal here. We will restart this just to make sure it works. Actually, we're going to we're gonna try something today, and that is we're gonna see if we can connect to the host without restarting our VPN. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it does. Looks like someone's trying to connect with some difficulty. Ah, there it is. I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
What's Yep, I hear you, Ugo. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right,
Just
let me
trying to
see if I
set this up.
can. I'm gonna try to adjust your sound. You got a lot of static coming in.
Uh, I might just be.
Is that your laptop taking off, maybe?
It is. Let me.
All right. So looks like um, it won't work. So what I thought is the case where you do have to reset this every time. I was just curious if it would work. Now you can see we're getting a ping as soon as we reset the VPN. As soon as Ugo gets straight, we'll have him hop on and chit chat some. I need to zoom in my screen again today. So hard to see. I probably should make this bigger vertically. All right. Trying to arrange my stuff so I can get to Discord in case Cat messages. All right, let's bring this down here. All right, let's make sure we're still sharing. Yep, cool. Yeah, whenever you get situated, let me know, Ugo, and we can talk through some of your stuff. So Ugo picked a couple of things out for him to work on today. So one of them is going to be billing, and then if we get through that in time, we're going to work on small. He suggested pirate, but he missed that episode. We already did that one, so you have to go back and watch the video.
Yeah. It's looking like my mic might be just. I might have to get like an actual mic to do this because since I'm using my laptop and my laptop is trying to go to Mars, it's not it's not working with me. It's not liking me. And also my camera, I think because I was trying to use it in OBS for Twitch, it's it's also not allowing me to turn my camera on.
Okay. Yeah, weird. We'll have to get together outside of this and work
Yeah.
troubleshoot the camera, but it's okay if you don't have your camera on. Me and you can figure out how to do the collaborative streaming thing because this will be a first for me as well. So we can try to figure it out so it goes
Yeah.
flawlessly.
Yeah.
You're not bad. I can for the recording, I can cut all that out with the editing stuff. I mean, it's really not that bad.
Okay.
I was gonna say too, if you have Bluetooth headphones, those may help to alleviate some of that background noise. I know like the earbuds from Apple get rid of most of the background noise.
Let me see. I just put on my beats. Let me see if I can connect it real quick. See what it does.
So Ugo is he's from the Discord channel as well. So if you want to chat with him, feel free to hop in the Discord channel on my link. I think he may be doing some Twitch streaming. I think we might be doing some stuff together, but he also has a Instagram account he's growing. I'll let him share that later, and he has a YouTube channel as well, I do believe.
Absolutely. Okay. Did this change anything?
Sounds the same. It doesn't even
Oh,
sound like you switched input.
it changed this one. Mike.
We'll need to check um, the echo. Oh, it has echo canceling on, but it's still, I can hear somewhat of an echo. Change your communications. Oh, it does say you're going to your beats. Hmm. Challenges.
Yeah, it's not highlighting my beats for some reason. It's like not allowing me to switch.
Well, I see him in here. It's passing through the communications channel. It shows Ugo's beats in here.
Yeah.
Try changing to it specifically. So I have sometimes issues using the one you see where your microphone is in Riverside.
Mm-hmm.
If you change that to and point it specifically to your beats, it may sound a little bit better. I have a difference in mine.
Yeah. So on my side, it just says the communications to headset. It doesn't like it's not highlighting. It has it grayed out. I can't change it. Same thing with my camera.
Interesting.
It's like grayed out. But,
So, okay, so I do have a message that pops up and says Ugo's mic and cam are already in use. Ask them to close other apps.
uh, I just closed my
So they
windows.
may be, maybe there's a lock on those preventing it from working properly.
Yeah. Um, I can. I'm gonna close down a few things and then try and rejoin see what happens.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Technology, man, when it works, it works. When it doesn't, it doesn't. It doesn't. Like my microphone and headphones wasn't working. I had to reset my Rodecaster over here. But thankfully it worked, and I'm actually surprised there was no issues streaming out because 'cause we're streaming to a new platform today. Twitch always seems to have an issue. Not Twitch itself. I think it's what I'm utilizing to, multicast, I think is the proper term there. Alright, so we do have a box up and running. I don't even know if I should go ahead and do this because Ugo's gonna be doing some of his stuff. But we can play with it and see what happens. So, just looking at this one, we see a bunch of ports open. So 80 default HTTP port. We have some SMB NetBIOS ports open here. These three. RDP is open. I think 5985 could be a couple of things. It could be remote PowerShell, WMIC, or not WMIC, WinRM, maybe. I think it's WinRM. 8080 is a backup our alternate port for HTTP. Sometimes it's the administrator port as well. So let's just do an HTTP and see what's here. Employee of the month. What's the question? Who is the employee of the month? We can look at it. We don't see anything, but we may be able to inspect and see the name. Bill Harper is our guy. And that is correct. Scan what other ports are running web server. So we got 8080. Take a look at the other server. What file server is running? So this is all pretty easy stuff so far. This is HTTP file server 2.3. If I remember, this has an exploit ready for it. Well, let's look at the Let's look at the format here, because the format's going to be goofy. HTTP 1, 2, 3, 4 file. I think this is supposed to be file. SERV server. I don't know. Let's see if it works. I don't think it works. Yeah, maybe it's called something different. Let's view page source. There may be something in here with the exact version we're looking for, or we can do some tricks to get that as well. Sometimes you'll see me cheat a little bit if I know I don't want to waste my time doing something specific. Um, but like screwing around with file formats, that stuff's so annoying to me, and it takes away. Like I prioritize learning over troubleshooting something stupid. It is what it is. You choose your own journey. My journey is to learn as fast as I possibly. Rigetto. Maybe that's what it's looking at. Rigetto HTTP file server. I bet that's what that is. And there we go. So it needs to be REGETTO HTTP file server. There we go. Okay. So that's that piece. Let's go back. And now we want to search for a file or for an exploit for Rigetto. Typically what you can do is just type in like exploits, name of the thing, and we can see here. Oh, look at you got that fancy background as well.
There you go. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
Is it a lot better now?
Yeah. It's good.
Perfect. Perfect.
I might turn this down.
Yeah.
There we go. Say something.
Hello? Hello?
Perfect. Yeah, I just turned down your mic a little bit so that there is a little bit of fuzziness, but I turned it down and your voice should come out a little bit better now. Yeah, and then for the other stuff, I'll clean it up later. Sweet. So do you want to jump into yours? I was just doing Still Mountain, unless you want to do this one.
What is that one?
So this is one of the ones I started the offensive security pen testing route or something like that.
Hmm.
It's a Mr. Robot one. If you've ever watched that show, have you seen that show?
Yeah, Mr. Robot.
Yeah, you're breaking into Still Mountain, man.
Mr. Mountain.
Might see my dog behind me. He's like peeping through the window like a creeper.
All right. And is this one offensive or is this one on the defensive side?
This is offensive.
Okay.
So it says hack into a Mr. Robot themed Windows machine. Use Metasploit for initial access. Utilize PowerShell for Windows privilege escalation, enumeration, and learn a new technique to get admin access.
Let me see. Okay. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can do that one. Is that one only for premium members, or is that for
Yeah, it's a
anyone?
premium one. Do you have a premium account?
No, I don't have a
Okay, let's
premium
switch
yet.
to yours then. Hey, Catherine.
Hello.
How's it going, Catherine?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
So Catherine here is going to be quizzing me Sec Plus stuff. Uga's going to be hacking away, and then yeah, we'll have some fun.
Yeah.
What's he hacking away at?
So he is about to switch to, I forgot which one he said. Billing is what we're going to start with today
Yeah.
with him.
Oh my gosh, Steel Mountain from Mr. Robot.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. Have you seen the whole series, Uga?
No, I haven't. I watched
Oh,
some.
what?
Yeah, I know. I've watched like parts of it here and there, but then something about Mr. Robot. He's just depressed all the time.
It is a dark show. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good, but it's like you can only take so much of that mentally.
Exactly. But that's a good show.
He has, from what I found out, dissociative identity disorder. Like
Really.
his he is his dad and his dad is him. Like personalities, like he loses time, like time. I don't know. I don't know. Dissociative identity, I think, is what he has.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's
that's why he's a little messed up. And he like so half of the stuff that he does is technically not him. It's his dead father that takes over
Wow.
apparently.
oh,
It's
wait a
like
spoiler. Come
oh
on.
oops. Oops.
How far are you in? Are you in like you must be in a different season then, huh? You're
I
not in the
just
first season.
no. I
Yeah, that's why. That's the whole first season. You don't know that until the end of the
yeah,
first
Really.
one.
oops.
Well.
Ruining
Oops.
it.
But yeah,
Well, if you hadn't
he's
seen Mr. Robot, go watch it. It is very good, even though she spoiled it. It's
and
very good.
it is really good. And I was actually going to ask if we could I want to learn how to hack in. Like there's one part where they're like they're in the girl's headphones and they're telling her how to hack into the FBI.
Hmm.
Wow.
And it was really interesting. And it's surprisingly like a lot of it is accurate. Like it's actually really surprising, I feel like.
Yeah, they throw a bunch of hacker Easter eggs in there too.
Mhm.
Really.
Pay tribute to some of the OGs. Yeah, it's a
I
good time.
I thought that was pretty wild because I didn't think that they would show that to the world.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, you have to try a little bit harder than they did to get into the FBI, I'm sure.
Oh, 100%. But it is really awesome.
Um,
And then where they placed the Raspberry Pi, that was really cool.
hmm. All right, Ugo, I'm gonna give you control if you want. So what I will say real quick in preparation before you share, get your
Okay.
VM up. Make sure you don't have anything private in the VM that you're afraid of leaking.
Hmm.
And so if you have a snapshot, just reset. And then just go ahead, log in to TryHackMe and then share your screen. Um,
Okay.
and I would just sign in to TryHackMe within your VM. So that way you can just share the VM itself versus your whole screen. And that way you're good. You don't have to worry about anything else leaking out
Gotcha.
from your system.
Okay. Because what I have up right now, so I'm starting up the VMware, and already before this, I got the what's it, the VPN file,
Mm,
and
yep.
I did like a shared folder, so it could just transfer over. So I have it in there, and I'm actually starting Kali right now to connect to it. But I should probably still sign into TriCap. But do I need to sign into it or
Yeah, because
okay?
otherwise you won't be able to start your systems. And what I want to
Oh,
show,
okay.
I want you to show as you're submitting your flags and all that. And so if you're
Mm-hmm.
only sharing your VM, if you're
Yeah.
not in TryHackMe in your VM, you can't share that. So you got to show
Okay.
the whole thing, man.
Gotcha.
Yeah, don't leave it out. So Catherine
Let me
here
see.
also wants to get into the OPSEC side, although she likes all the things.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
find it all very interesting.
but yeah, so she is going to have some fun. She has an older system, so she's having trouble sharing. I was going to have her share last time, so she just gets to ride along until we get her to be able to get her laptop working properly.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this Kali. Seems to
So,
say
yeah,
that I'm in
so
it.
hopefully, so both of these folks here, for people watching the stream, if you're watching it now or later, both of these folks are just learning. They're kind of at the beginning part of their journey in cybersecurity. So it is, it's cool to watch people as they grow from a little bit of knowledge or just school stuff to more. Ugo's a little bit later. You're senior now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Catherine's just starting out. I think you just had your first semester or second semester.
I'm in my third.
Third, there you go. So
Mhm.
yeah, both pretty early in their career. So it's amazing to watch people start this early in the labs because I've had so many interns and people fresh out of college that were horrible. They didn't know anything, and I spent so much time trying to get them up to speed where they would be useful,
Yeah.
versus they should be doing what you both of you are doing right now, which is getting some of that knowledge early on.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's always good to learn from, people who've already like done it, you know. It's like you could go try it out yourself and see if you can figure it out, but you cut a lot of time if you just, learn from people who do the actual work.
Makes it faster for sure.
Yeah. Uh,
Well, while Ugo's doing that, do you got any questions you want to hit us with, Catherine, early on? What have you been
Oh,
studying? You're working on your practice test, right?
yes, the Security Plus. I'm doing the CompTIA Cert Master. Uh, let's see. I just started a new section or module 5.
Mhm.
I don't even know what that's about yet. Let's see. Okay, security program management and oversight. And then let's see, 5.1, it says summarize elements of effective security governance.
Governance. I hate that. But I have some friends who love that. It's not. I think govern like GRC, right? Governance, risk, and compliance. That's governance to me. Is the most
Yeah,
boring thing. Like it would be torture for me to do that for the rest of my life. uh,
absolutely.
but some people love it, just like some people love IT administrative work, and I would hate myself engineering. I cannot stand to be like a straight up security engineer. It's just boring to me. But people love it. People are really good at it. There's something for everyone, I think, in cybersecurity, which is amazing.
Yeah, we have one lady who's in the program, but she has no desire to do like pen testing, ethical hacking, anything like that. She just wants to write it. Like, what does she want to do? She just keeps saying, I just want to write it. Like,
Right?
contracts.
What?
She just wants to write
Oh,
contracts.
ugh.
Yeah, that's all she wants to do.
That's pretty much like GRC stuff, essentially,
yeah.
with
Yeah.
more businessy minded.
Hmm. I could never.
I mean,
I
I
do
have to
not
do
live.
that, but I don't wish that on anyone else. Yeah, old tandem. I got to look at every contract.
That's right.
See, 5.2 is explain the elements of the risk management process.
Yeah,
That one might be a little more enjoyable.
probably
Uh,
not.
let's see.
Risk is good though. I think one of the mistakes a lot of people early on make is they don't really look at risk per se with a lot of stuff we do. But the problem is when you don't do that, you're not speaking your leadership's language, and that's what language they speak in. So when you start paying more attention to why is this risky or why would leadership care about this risk, then you'll start getting more buy-in to a lot of the stuff you're doing. So like if you have like, all right, I think we should implement like a incident response training program. Like it sounds good, but your leadership is going to be like, sounds like it costs money. Sounds like you're going to be spending time doing that versus closing out alerts or whatever. And so you have to translate it into risk. Well, if we don't do this, our skill, if something came in, our people would not be able to handle it. The impact to operations is going to be much more widespread. It's going to cost you more money in the long term. You may be able to get a lower premium on your insurance, perhaps. You can do. You just change it into a language. Just talking about
Mm,
risk. Risk is a universal language in business, I think.
hmm. Has
Pontificating
have
on them.
you have you taken the Sec Plus exam or cert?
M Me or Uga?
Ugo.
Yeah, I took it like 2 years ago.
Mm,
First time I failed it. But then like after you get to see what's on the actual exam, you're kind of like, oh, like you just gotta study a little bit more or different topics, and then the next time you take it, it's easy.
Mm.
does it show you which like what section you did? Like you, how do you get your test results back? Like, do you know like which questions, what area you need to study more?
Um, last time I checked, I don't think it tells you. I think it just gives you a score. It gives you
Mm,
score out of the how many ever points you could get, and then it says pass or fail.
Hmm. I was trying to
Yeah,
remember. It's been so long for me. I
yeah,
think
yeah.
GIAC gives you your areas, maybe, or that's just a practice exam. I
Do
don't
you did
remember.
you do you have the 701? I know
Me?
they just yeah.
I think mine's like 501 or 401 or
Jeez.
something like that.
So how does that work? Like, do you have to maintain the updated cert? Will you
Yeah.
have to get the 701?
I won't have to pass the exam. Well, you could, but I just do my CPEs. So usually I'm doing one certification a year somewhere, and they usually take that to renew. It's enough CPEs to renew. So you have to do, I don't, it's probably like 32 CPEs or something like that to renew. They're pretty easy to get. You can get them from going to, like online seminars or going to conferences or taking other certifications and stuff like that. But I think it's like a 2 or 3 year cycle with CompTIA that you have to renew. So,
Does going to DEFCON count?
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
DEFCON's coming up, everyone. A couple of weeks. Shout out
I'm so
DEFCON.
jealous.
Are you going?
Me? Oh yeah,
Yeah. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Sean's going too. Yo, he was on my stream a few weeks back. He's going. We are going to hang out, hopefully see some friends. We've been 2 times before together, maybe. Yeah, I think so. So
Hmm.
this will be our third time together. This will be my fourth or fifth time there.
Wow.
Yeah, good time.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to get myself there. Also, so I'm on my my VMware, and I'm trying to log in, and it's incredibly slow. And I wouldn't even
Ooh,
want to do that to your viewers. They'd just be sitting here looking at my screen, just the thing spinning back, spinning, spinning, spinning.
let's
So
wait for Ugo to get there today. No, okay.
it's
Okay, well, I can. So, how about this? Well, this is what
yeah.
we'll do.
Mm,
Catherine, if she has any questions, she can obviously ask questions and stuff. But I'll drive, but you'll be a backseat driver, and you can tell me what to do. It usually works out where you learn a lot because you don't get to fumble around. You have to think about it and then tell me
mm,
what to do.
yeah,
So I'm gonna make you tell me what to do then.
perfect. All right, let's do it. And then I'll also be on my end with my thing open, with my terminal open, seeing if I can like go as fast as how your computer's moving.
All right. So,
Was that Mr. Robot thing on TryHackMe?
yep, it's Still Mountain. They have quite a few actually. They have a Mr. Robot one. It's a premium room, so you should have access to it. Well, you have a premium account, so you should have access to it. I thought I just had oh, I did have billing. I was like, I thought it was on the billing page. I was like, ah, surely this isn't it. Okay. Ugo, you're up. What do you want me to do, man? I
All
got a
right.
fresh, clean command line terminal window here waiting on you.
Okay. So well, first things first. Are you connected to the VPN?
Yep, I'm on the VPN.
Okay. I would nmap scan the target IP address.
I'll zoom in for you. So this IP address, do you know what command would you like in map? Okay.
And
Well, walk me
nmap
through. What else do you want me to do with it?
nmap dash a dash o, and
Why
then
these switches?
I think O. I forgot exactly what O is. So
Operating system.
yeah, okay, so yeah, and then a. I don't know like the exact terms. I just know what it outputs in my head.
A is
Like
everything in the
there you
kitchen
go.
sink.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
why do you want to start out with everything? So this is a good
Um,
question. Why do you decide to go this route?
I decided to go, or I'm thinking about going that route, so I can just so I'm able to see exactly like what ports are open, what versions of different systems are available or are being used, so that you can do um, you can go online and see like what common vulnerabilities are I
Okay.
guess yeah, yeah.
Not bad. We're going to poke and probe you a little bit more here. So,
Hmm.
um, one thing I would suggest, so this is a pro tip, is that in a real pen test, and even in here, I wouldn't do it because sometimes the map scans can be take a while.
Mm-hmm.
If you do a full MAP scan like this, what I would suggest is do a smaller scan that's a little bit quicker to give you information so you can start manually doing some stuff while you're waiting on your bigger scan, your all scan to finish up.
Okay.
So now, with that being said, let's just do that. How would I do a smaller scan first? And then we'll kick off the all scan after that one's done.
Smaller scan. Maybe just PN from what I'm seeing.
Well, what's PN do? Well, we don't want to do this
uh,
because we don't even know if the system's up. PN means
okay.
no ping.
No ping.
We don't even know if it's up.
Interesting.
We want to make sure it's up.
What if you just do nmap without anything, and you just
Bingo. But yeah, it
like
just
that?
does the top, I think 100 ports or maybe 1000.
Okay.
And yeah, it's pretty quick. It's running at a T3. We could speed that up as well,
Mm-hmm.
increase that speed, but let's run it like this. There's nothing wrong with it. If it was a real pen test, I may manipulate this a little bit more. This is where the cheat sheets we've talked about before. I think I've talked with both of you about having cheat sheets and having stuff documented, like having your own big notebook.
Mm-hmm.
Is you build out ahead of time what you would do in your methodology. So, for instance, you may say, like, if we had a big network, right, we may just do discovery only. I just want to do a ping sweep, see what's up. Boom, that's it. Then maybe I want to do a very narrow port scan, service scan. So maybe like the top 100 ports versus the top 1000. And then I'll start working those, and then I'll kick off a bigger scan and let that run in the background while I'm doing some manual stuff. And the reason, and it's just beat into me because I've done this as a job, and efficiency matters, especially when you have 40 hours to break into a Fortune 100 company. Time matters, so you just start getting really efficient with everything that you do. So there you go. There's a little pro tip. All right,
Okay.
so we have the scan, and what I'm going to do, slightly take
Um,
over, but not quite. Yeah, what's up?
can you just break down like uh what are we looking at?
Yeah,
Like
so this is an
briefly.
IMAP scan. So this is a ports and services scan. I think you've covered some basic networking in class, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Great. So what we're doing is you can basically think of this computer we're targeting as a house, and we're walking around the outside, jiggling door handles and trying to lift up windows. And those are ports and services running. So like SSH, here we see a web server. There is a web server running. Let me exit this thing up here. And then we also see a MySQL database server running as well. So these are three things that we've identified with Ugo's shorter in-map scan because we only looked at a very narrow subset. Basically, we walked around maybe like just one side of the house and looked. And so Ugo also suggested, which we're going to do next, is we're going to do a complete walk around and look at everything. Now, one thing I do believe, I think the dash A has dash O in it.
Mm.
And one way we can figure that out is looking at the man pages. Let's see, enable OS detection. Yeah, so it's already built in. You didn't need a dash O.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And it does a bunch of other stuff. So we have version detection, script scanning. So it actually runs a bunch of the scripts as well that are built into Nmap. It's not Nazzle. Nazzle is Nessus. It's damn, I can't think. Lua is what it's written in. I can't remember what they're called.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so it's going to do quite a few things for us with the dash A. We'll run dash A first, but keep in mind the default ports are not all of them. So sometimes they like to play games with us, and they'll force you to do like a full port scan to find the things, but we may be fine because it's a beginner box. So if we don't find anything, we'll go back and do a full port scan. So dash A, and we'll drop the port in here one more time. Did that answer your question, Catherine?
Yes.
So this is the beginner part of the attack chain too, just to clarify. So We're not exploiting yet. We're not attacking anything. We're simply like, think of us as con artists where we're scoping out our victim right now, trying to figure out the best way to start breaking in to this system. Wow, that was actually fast. They're never this fast. Um, so when we get this information back, like a con artist, we want to look to see if we've gathered any additional information that's actionable, right? Actionable is the key word here. Like we see this SSH host key. Is that actionable? No, it's not. Unless it's a specifically vulnerable SSH protocol. There are some. I don't know if this is it. I doubt it. But we'll see. So the version, though, is actionable because we can look up to see if there's vulnerabilities for it. We also have a specific web server version that's actionable. Again, we can look for exploits. And I need to shut up. Ugo, you go. It's not my turn. Sorry. I get so
Uh,
excited. Go ahead, man.
yeah. Well, we need to get the version for MySQL. It's the um, Maria MariaDB. There we
All
go.
right. What else do we see under the web server that may be interesting?
I think the web server. There is the. Let me get the Apache. The M billing. I guess that's a yeah, yeah, that one right there.
What is it?
Um, Remember when I said after the .com?
Yeah, what's after the .com? What is
Uh,
it?
a folder. There you go. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I'll take
or
that. I'll take
a
that.
web folder. Yeah,
Yeah. A directory, a folder.
gotcha.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
And then mm, resource.
Where are we seeing this at? I it may not be obvious because it's just the output, but what do
Mm,
we see it under here?
um, Under a website. H.
Yeah. So it may not ring bells to you. So one of
Uh,
the files we'll typically look for in web applications is robots.txt. Have you ever heard of
okay.
that file?
Never.
So this is actually telling bots, so things that are just constantly scanning the internet,
Uh-huh.
if they are well behaved, they won't scan the things listed in this file.
Hmm.
Which means because they're telling stuff not to scan it and make it available to search results, that we should probably what?
Hmm.
Look at it.
Um.
It's like saying, don't worry about that guy over there. Don't open that door. And we're like, oh no, no, we kind of want to open that door. We want to push that
Oh.
button.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. All
Gotcha.
right, so
Yeah.
robots.txt it's showing us, and we can actually confirm that's there by going to the site eventually. But
Hmm.
let's look at it. What else? So we have a title. This is kind of interesting.
Hmm.
Okay, so we've run both of our scans. We've done a little bit of reconnaissance. What else should we do now?
Both the scan reconnaissance. I guess look for exploits for these different, I guess, versions for
We
the
could,
services. Hmm.
we could, but I would argue that we're not done doing reconnaissance yet.
Okay. Okay.
Let's do more reconnaissance. What else should we be looking at?
We're doing more reconnaissance. I would say trying to figure out if there's any other, I guess, folders slash directories in that after the M billing, or
We
maybe even before that.
we could, but I think you're jumping ahead here. What
Okay.
haven't we done that's so obvious?
Um, just go onto the website.
Bingo, you got it.
Okay.
It was so obvious you didn't think about it. It was like,
Hey,
ah, surely
exactly.
he's not going for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, one of the things I like to do, and I don't want to speak for obviously every pen tester hacker out there, but
Mm,
yeah, manually checking these things out. We call it interrogating, manually interrogating. That's a good, SAT word for pen testing. We want to
yeah.
interrogate these services. So we want to kick the tires, if you will, and see what it's going to give us. If we lift this window, do you have an alarm? Can we look through the window? What can we see when we look through the window of the house? So yeah, let's do it. Because one of the great things by going to it, we may see additional um, software information that can help us hone in our exploit a little bit better as well. So
Okay.
the more information, the better. The more
Mm-hmm.
actionable information, even better. Okay.
Okay.
All right, we're here. What do we see we didn't see before?
What do you see here? Well, we see a website that has a username and password.
Bingo. Yeah, we have a
Mm-hmm.
login prompt. That's something else that we can target that we didn't know about before, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we call this the attack surface is what we're building out right now. So if you ever
Okay.
hear that word, that's what it
Mm-hmm.
means. So it means anything that we can touch and potentially attack. That is the attack surface. So
Okay.
now we have a login page. What kind of attacks could you think about just off the top of your head that would target a login page?
What's that? What's the type of input?
Hmm.
Command injection
Potentially.
and
What's the famous one? There's a famous attack for
cross-site
these.
scripting.
It could be, but there's another one even more famous for these. Yeah,
SQL.
yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
there you
yep,
go.
yep. Catherine
Yeah,
has it.
yeah,
What
yeah.
is it?
SQL injection.
There you go.
SQL injection.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been studying hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, SQL injection is the famous one because it's
Mhm.
the or 1 = 1 and you get logged in.
That's the
Like
one.
that's
Yeah.
the infamous example that you'll see in a lot of places. Obviously, it can get way more complicated, but yeah. So
Mhm.
that's one. One of the other things to point out that we do with websites. So if I was doing a full web application pen test, I would be focused on this. I would be focused on every button on the site. So even the forgot password, that's a powerful button we could do
Mhm.
if it was, oh, it does let us do stuff. So anything we can click or
Mhm.
interact with is in scope for an assessment.
Okay.
Now, the caveat with that, we only have so much time. So part of your job as a pen tester is figuring out which route is more likely to pay off the fastest. So we want to find the biggest bang for our buck. In this case, the buck is our time.
Mhm.
So that's part of the game. We find this attack surface, and then we think about, okay, which is more likely to pay off the fastest? And that's the route we're going to take. So
Okay.
with that being said, let's continue to enumerate our victim,
Mhm.
this site, and start putting together an attack plan. Okay.
Okay.
We're not attacking yet. We're still gathering information, but
Got
we're
information.
building a
Got it.
plan to attack. Yeah. Patience.
Yeah,
Patience.
I was gonna say.
We'll get there. Patience.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Got it.
All right.
Okay.
What's next?
Um, this is as far as I've been. Hmm, what's
So
next?
let's do one thing. Let's look at the robots.txt file since neither one of you have seen that before. I do want to
Mhm.
show what that looks like if we were to go to it. I think that's a cool little and you'll see I'll just open up a bunch of tabs because I want to keep tabs that I want to play with in there and open up pages as I play with stuff. And I kind of work my way back. So we just put it in there. It should be at the root of the web server. And it's not there. So where did it get it? That's a good question. Let's see. Let's look at our results a little bit closer. Um, one disallowed. Maybe it's in billing slash TTB robots. Maybe it's just robots.txt. It is just robots.txt. I don't know why it gave it to us like that. That's kind of misleading, huh? Uh, all right. So this is pretty much exactly what a robots.txt file will look like for you, where it just says disallow and it tells you what it should not be um, scanning, essentially.
Okay.
So sometimes you'll see a bunch of stuff, sometimes you don't. There's a user agent block here as well. But with that being said, yeah, we're pretty much done with this. Um, one thing I do with web applications too, I usually have I like to use mind maps, and you'll see that a lot with bug bounty hunters as well, where I'm mapping out every place I can put input, every directory, every site I can touch. I'm mapping out all the software and technology that's utilized on the site. We're not going to do that. It's a lot of work, and I'm sure that's not the route that's intended here. But just something to keep in mind, like you document really, really well because you never know when something you find comes back up and you can utilize it.
Okay.
But it also helps that you're exhaustive, especially if you're being paid for something. You want to be as exhaustive as possible. And if you're just like zoom, 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 you're going to miss stuff, a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And, your customer's missing out, basically.
Okay.
There you go. Okay. So what do you want to try to do now? Since I know this is as far as you've been, but let's talk through what's in your mind. What are you thinking? What do you think a hacker? Assume you are a well established veteran hacker. What would you be
Well,
doing?
well established veteran hacker, and I'm still gathering information.
We're still gathering information. Catherine can chime in as well since she had the SQLI. That was a
Yeah.
good find.
Now,
Mhm.
would sorry, I was gonna say would gathering information because when I was on the defensive side, on the SOC side, and we get logins like this to see
Mhm.
what's going on um, in the username and password. We'd open up an inspect element and then put in a username and password and see if it outputs it somewhere, like it's capturing um, the username or password.
What do
I
you
don't
mean?
know.
Like a scraper or something like that is doing it?
Ye- yeah, like when you look at the post from the like after you click enter.
So you're talking about like this?
Yeah, I know you went to it was either I think it was network on the if you on
Where's
the
it
right,
at?
okay,
There it is.
and then yeah, and then you put the username and password and seeing if like the website is a malicious website or like if it's just what it basically sends back to you from there.
So here's the ultimate question that you should
Mm,
always be asking yourself when you're performing techniques. I
yeah.
know you're looking at it from a blue side.
Mm,
From an offensive side is why am I doing this? What am I
mm,
getting from it?
okay.
So how is this going to progress your attack if you do this thing? What are you getting out of it? And it's important
Mm,
for you to think about it that way because there's a thousand different things you could be doing at any given moment, and we
yep.
need to make sure we're making good use of our time. So us doing this, what are you getting out of it? How is it going to help you in your attack?
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I'm
uh,
trying to help
yeah.
like coach and help
Yeah.
you think because these are things that took me a while to realize,
Hmm.
and I just learned with time. So it's great to go ahead and learn them early on.
Sure. For sure. Well, in the sense of offensive side, I don't think it'll help too much. I will
Okay.
say though, um, I know sometimes when like in the password side, like when you I guess when you get output from clicking login, when you're in the inspect element, you can see if it's the password is hidden or not hidden. I don't know how much that would help, but just seeing if it's clear text or cipher text or something like that. But
So it may help if you're doing a web application attack.
okay.
It could because if it's sending it in clear text, that's obviously a finding in itself. It should be encrypting everything that leaves the website.
Mhm.
Um, in this case, it's not going to help you progress because we're looking for a way to get a foothold on the system.
Okay.
So that isn't going to get us a foothold in the system.
Mhm. Okay.
So how about something else? I mean, we could throw something in here. Test. We can see where it's going. One thing that does help us out here, we do get a couple of additional items on the site.
Mhm.
So it expands what we know about the website. So that is kind of useful, right?
Mhm.
We don't know how it's useful yet, but it could be. Um, any other suggestions?
Can we like should you do like the or and then like 1 = 1? Trying to think of what I did in the lab.
Could. So here's the issue with that. We could. But do you know that all of those tests, they're different for each type of database?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
And
interesting.
look what type of database we have here. So if we do that, we do want to do a Google search and identify tests for MySQL or for MariaDB
Mm,
specifically. And MySQL. Well, it doesn't really tell us. It says MySQL, MariaDB. I think these are two different databases. Um, oh, because this is what we got earlier. This is when we actually interrogated it properly. So we would need to look for a test for MariaDB specifically.
okay.
It's like trying to ask someone to open a door for you. You're speaking English, but they only understand French. It's not going to work. You
Mm,
know,
Oh.
yeah, different
Who,
languages.
what or who is MariaDB?
That's the name of a database. So let's see.
Um,
SQLI, MariaDB. We would just look up something like that, maybe. SQ
oh, and it's gonna give you like what we would put in the like the username.
Correct. The test string specifically. So,
So MariaDB.
but I would say we'll try a couple of things. I wouldn't spend too much time on this because, again, we got to be conscious of our time. So we'll test a few things. We'll write it as something to come back to. But typically for me, and this is just how I work, um, I'll do some quick checks early, write it down to come back to, and I'll do a bunch of quick checks on everything else that I see just to see if something works out sooner. And then I start working my way back through all the other things, doing more complex things, spending more time on the different areas. But we have a lot of other things we could be doing now um, to uh, continue looking for other stuff. There's a lot of things we haven't done
So
yet.
like a login bypass payloads, as in login forms. You could do the apostrophe or
Drop it in
one
chat
equals
and I'll
one.
put it in there.
Oh, cool. Good idea. Okay.
Oh, looks
One.
like we got someone in chat. Hey, Blase. Is that French? Let's see. Fun channel.
Interesting.
Sweet. Yeah. Oh, so you got your answer,
Oh,
Catherine.
there you
They said it does show your incorrect domains. He just passed the day. Hey, big congrats. Uh,
Yeah.
thank you
go.
so
Yeah.
much. Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, big congrats. That's tough.
All right. Well, first
So
step.
yeah. All right. So let's try this out. So So one thing I will point out when you're doing SQL injections, every field that you're putting it into could be vulnerable. And I say it like that because a lot of people think it only applies to like the username. The password, just because you see dots here, doesn't mean it's not actually trying to run your code or like it's not doing the same thing as is doing the user. It's just turning it to dots, but it is actually the text behind it. Because if we think about the process of a website, it runs some code, it sends that code back to the database, and then it tries to do something with it. In this case, what we're doing is there's usually a SQL statement here where it's saying, like, look this username up in the database. And what you're doing with the apostrophe is you're closing it off and then saying that, or it's true. So it just lets you in if that's the vulnerability there. But you're closing off the intended SQL query and you're adding onto it, extending it, and causing it to do something else. Yeah, because really it's just taking what you put and dropping it into a prepared statement usually,
Mm,
and that's it. And then it's just running whatever you put in there. So maybe it's intending to see just a plain username, and then it'll search the database for that user. But remember, if you're thinking about it, it's like, oh, it's actual query, the apostrophe or the single quote. It started with a single quote. You close it with a single quote, so it's like single quote, and then you're running an additional query. Yeah, it's kind of weird,
yeah.
but that's how it works. You're just hijacking the SQL statement. Let me see if I can find a good SQL injection thing. Yeah, it's pretty freaking interesting. Let's see, SQLi Portswigger. I bet has a really good example. Yeah,
Now,
let's check it out.
when you perform a SQL injection, does their system alert them
It depends.
that
Um,
that's being run?
oh, so we're getting feedback from somewhere. I wonder where.
Yeah, I don't know where either.
Is everyone's microphone going through, or everyone's headphones like
Yeah,
working?
yeah. Mine should be, unless it's. Let me see if I mute.
All right, let's see. Say something, Catherine.
Hello?
Yeah, it might be yours. Maybe it's bouncing right back into your headphones. That's weird. Yeah. That's okay. We'll make do. Let me see if I can adjust into echo cancel can't be changed while recording. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah,
See if you can turn echo cancellation on your end. It should be under your speakers, under
ours
people on the side. Actually, I don't know what it looks like on your end.
ours is under the settings, like up at the well for mine's up at the settings, the little button, and you can click on that. I was playing around with it to make sure
How does mine sound now? Is it
that's better.
Uh,
okay?
yeah, I think it's better.
Okay,
Hmm.
perfect. I just turned it all the way down. All the way
Oh,
down. Yeah, yeah.
um, okay. Um, what were you asking, Catherine? You were asking something.
Oh,
Does it
when you
alert?
type in, yeah, like so when we type in that SQL injection for MariaDB, uh, does that alert their system that somebody is attempting that?
It depends. So that's where layered security comes in. That's probably on your Security Plus exam somewhere where they have to build it in. So a lot of times what they'll do is they'll put a WAF, so a web application firewall, in front of their web applications. And what this does is it looks for very basic attacks. So when you're starting out with pen testing, you learn very basic stuff. It will never work in the real world unless something's completely screwed up and their security is just completely awful. And as you get better, you start learning how to work around all these security things. So, like for instance, the WAF may be looking for exactly what we're typing in, right? Or one equals one. But there are a bunch of other ways to get around doing that because we could say, or two equals two. Same thing. We're looking for a true statement. Or um, you could just use strings instead. So you could say, or cat equals cat, whatever results in a true statement or true, you know, like it doesn't matter. You just have to equal true. And we work our way around whatever they're searching for. So the answer is it could be depending on the web application, depending on the rules that are enabled on the web application. And as you get better at avoiding those because the other thing we have to do as an attacker is that they typically have code built in that prevents these types of attacks. And so we have to do a much more sophisticated attack to get around it.
Okay.
Yeah,
That,
that's the whole trick. That's why there's a whole specialty for web apps. It's its own animal.
mm, got it.
Oh yeah. Good times. So here's an example. So um here is in this case they're using a sheesh, I was going to say a variable. It's not a variable. It's a URL parameter. There we go. My brain stops working after a certain time. No. So we have a URL parameter and they're passing it in, but think of it as the same way. You could maybe do this with our site that we're looking at where the username equals the username. Okay. So same thing. E- But when the web application is reading it, this is what it looks like to the web application. This is the SQL command it's actually running. And if you can see, the GIFs is it's being input right here. And so what we're doing when we do a SQL injection, I'm sorry, this thing's super small and you may not be able to see it. Can you see this okay?
Hmm.
Okay.
I zoomed in. Yeah, you can
Oh,
zoom in really
perfect.
well.
So what we're doing is we're saying this or 1 equals 1. And typically what you'll see is that people will close it off where they say everything after this is now commented out. So we don't want to run any of this. But as you can see, we hijacked this. And all we did was put something like this. This is what our input would be. And this is what it will look like when it comes into the other side. And this is all, or sorry, this is what actually gets run in the database. So as you can see, our command gets passed through the web application, inserted into a SQL query, and this is what it turns into, and this is what runs on the back end.
Hmm.
I know it's a little wild, especially if you haven't done any database stuff, but any questions there?
Mhm. That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's fun. And this is how you have to look at stuff. And I suggest so as you're learning through and you're learning and working your way through this stuff, start trying to imagine what's happening on the other side, like what you're not seeing, because that's going to help you build your attacks properly. You have
Hmm.
to understand what's occurring in the background, how the code is interpreting what you're giving it. That's the key.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Portswigger, this is a, for everyone watching, you too as well. Portswigger has an amazing academy that's free. So if web application stuff is your jam, check out Portswigger. This is actually who makes Burp Suite, which is pretty much the gold standard for web application penetration testing. This is a transparent proxy most professionals utilize. I utilize it for Tandem. Um, but yeah, it's free. I mean, you can't beat it. It's high quality, very, very good stuff. Lots of guides as well. So if you get lost, get stuck, um, you have a way out. And just the way they explain stuff is fantastic. So not a sponsored thing whatsoever. It's just amazing. Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough good stuff. This and Black Hills are probably my two people I will always recommend to organizations. They just do such a great job for the community as a whole. All right, I'm gonna add another hour here. I don't know if it'll take that long. No. Okay. All right. So we're back here. It didn't work, um, but that's okay. That's what these right here mean. These are commenting out. So instead of like a semicolon, semicolon just separates commands or statements rather. Um, and then this just comments everything out. So you want to make sure it doesn't run anything else. All right. So that didn't work. Cool. Let's move on to something else. Again, we just want to kind of poke it, see if we can make it do anything. All right. If not, we'll move on. We'll come back if we can't find anything else that's easy.
Do some
Um,
systems need a semicolon after?
it just depends. And this is where the art of web application pen testing comes in, where you play. Like one of the things I may do first is just do like a semicolon or a single quote to try to elicit a database error. Because if you get a database error, you know it's interpreting your stuff, and then it's a matter of tweaking until you get it to do what you want it to do.
Hmm.
Yeah. One of the things I would do, always like to do, is I like to just view the page source code on stuff.
How did you just right click that?
Yep, just right click, view page source.
Cool.
And then obviously for people starting out, it may just look like a bunch of junk, but I look in here for just stuff such as um, maybe additional folders I didn't know about, comments I can't express enough. I've had a real life pen test where I was able to get into a internal benefit site because they had the password in the comments to the site. So I logged in as an administrator. So comments are good to look at. And sometimes they'll have, oh, I need to fix this. There's a SQLI issue here or something like you never know what's in the comments. So they could be beneficial. But it also gives you insight to how the application's working as well. So useful to hop in here. So I'll look through this and we'll see if there's anything of interest worth poking at with my eyes. This is just a bunch of junk. We won't interpret this. Not right now. I doubt it's to be used for this anyways. One of the other things I do like to do in here is look for information about the web application itself. So like versions, what type of um, plugins are being used, things like that, because those can all have vulnerabilities as well. In fact, that's how most WordPress sites are hacked, is because there's a vulnerable plugin in the site. Just one really outdated plugin, hackers hit it, done deal. But with that said, nothing great here. So let's take another peek at where we're at. So we have this. We've looked at the web application. We have an SSH service. We haven't looked at any of these versions for vulnerabilities, so that may be my next step. I do like to include in part of my steps trying common usernames and passwords as well, because that's just a quick hit. So like, believe it or not, admin still works on a lot of stuff these days. I'm not even kidding.
Oh
I don't know
my
how many
gosh.
times I've gotten into stuff with that. Guest. Don't tell me that works. And I maybe have a lock. I might hit a lockout threshold or something now
I
too.
was
But
just about to ask that. How many times do you usually get?
that's part of the game. You don't know. Usually they resolve after a certain amount of time. Sometimes they don't. And then you're like, well, I blew my shot on that one. Time to move on.
Hmm.
Yeah, happens. You could also like open up. Oh yeah, we might be blocked. That's funny if it is. There we go. You can reload. You could open it up in
New tab.
a incognito mode. So it
Mm.
might be just relying on the stuff in the cache, so like your session cookie or something like that, to figure out who was attacking. If it's relying on your VP, I'll just hop on a VPN and then start attacking again. So these are all just things you do. So this is actually saying it's a VoIP system, which is cool, um, which doesn't really make sense. Magnus billing VoIP system.
Voice over.
Yeah,
What?
yeah, it may hate me right now. That's okay. We'll give it a second to cool off. Let's let's check out these versions and see if we can find one. Let's see if there's any proof of concepts available for it. So I'll post these in chat. And why don't you, Catherine, take the first one? So SSH, Ugo, you take Apache, and I will take the last one, MariaDB. And I will talk through how I typically look for exploits while everyone is working. So one of the things I like to do, and believe it or not, it works, is I just put it in there and I say exploit. Like that's it. um, sometimes
Wait,
you may need. Oh, go
how
ahead.
did you know to do, where did you get the 10.3.23?
So we got that from our Nmap scan. It
Oh,
was
gotcha.
yeah, Ugo's all scan. It interrogates the services more thoroughly, and you can
Hmm.
get version numbers. That's one of the benefits of doing if you did it by itself, it would be dash SV, and that says give me the service version. And in order to match an exploit, almost always we need a version number. Otherwise, it you don't know. You're just kind of really shooting in the dark.
Okay.
So we have one, and what we're looking for here is we're looking for a match in version. So this one's 10.2. So this is likely not to work. It may. Sometimes they last a few versions, but usually we'll get a range.
There's 10.3 down there.
Ah, here we go. So 10.3. So it actually has more than I thought. So 10.3 to 8, anything before 10.3.28. So we may have a matching exploit here.
Wait, what am I supposed to be doing again?
You're supposed to be looking up the first one. So your SSH, looking for a vulnerability for SSH.
Okay.
So we have a possible. I'd say this is a high likelihood of this working. This is why I moved so quick through, and this is part of my methodology, right? I've talked to you, Ugo, about building a methodology, and it slowly gets bigger and bigger. This is why. This is how I've developed it. Just quick, see what works. Boom, I found something that's really likely. It didn't take me long to do it. I don't know if it's going to work, but I will say everything matches, and it was way better than spending 10 hours screwing around with SQLi. you know,
Yeah, and then I just went on, or I typed in exploit DB because I feel like that's the one that just like shows exactly what the exploit is. So I put in the chat the one for Apache as well.
all right, let's see. Our version is 2.462, 2.4 buffer overflow. All right, so let's talk about this. All right, so things you want to look for when we're looking at exploits is, like I was talking about before, we want to know what we're going to get out of it. So buffer overflows are interesting. Sometimes, if it says in here, we get a RCE, which means remote command execution. That's good, right? It doesn't say that in here. Otherwise, it could just give you a denial of service. Does denial of service help us progress our attack? No. So when we're looking at the exploits, again, we're looking for signs that it's going to help us progress our attack where we need it to go. I don't know. Let's see. In the above is arbitrary. It can be anything, but this has to match. Um, this form data as shown above returns a response as memory allocation error, block too big. So it looks like I would say it's just a it's an incomplete exploit. It triggers a buffer overflow, which is highly likely that we could turn this into an exploit. But remember when I said time investment? This is going to take probably significant time to develop into something that's usable. Yeah. And FYI, customers aren't paying you in a pen test for 0 days. If it's a pen test, they're looking for how do I line up against what's known in the world today? Red team and adversarial simulations are where they're paying for potentially O days and more sophisticated attacks. Pen tests, you don't have time. You're there to find as much as possible in a very short amount of time, which means utilizing what's public information already. There we go. So, not a bad find. You're right. This does match, but it doesn't do what we need it to do. All right, Catherine, you're up. Did you find anything?
Uh, can we go to since we have, hold on, let me look at, go back to the lab, like where we were typing in the command line.
Oh, this.
Mm-hmm. So can we do for the robots dot text, can we do just,
So this
we're
is
trying
for
we're
the
trying to
HTTP server. You're focused on the SSH server, so only focus here. Don't worry about
oh,
this stuff.
open SSH. Oh.
Yep.
Mm,
So
okay,
we're looking at
SSH
every one of these
user.
services independently is kind of what we're doing here
Hold on, let me move
because
my.
they are independent-ish. Like the web server may be connected to the database in some way. But right
Mhm.
now we're looking for individual exploits for each one of these components.
So for the SSH, we would use.
Just this little bit, probably.
Well, I'm looking at. SSH, and then you would do like user at, and then
So that's to log into it. We're looking for an exploit, not how to actually use it.
oh,
Right.
gotcha.
So we could do some password guessing, which we may try. I would say there's a pretty low success rate there, although some of these boxes have it as an intended route. But yeah, we're looking for specific exploits here. So for this one, we may do something like just what we did with the other ones, which is just take OpenSSH, copy it, throw it in here, and say exploit. Pretty straightforward. And this is just,
That
we're
is
just
really
doing a
straightforward.
cursory search for stuff. Um,
Open SSH.
and see where I was talking about RCE, remote command execution. This is okay. This may work. Again, we need to make sure it matches, but we'll look through some of these. Um, signal handle race condition. Okay, that's a class of vulnerabilities. Let's see. And this is interesting. They're saying it's basically an old issue that resurfaced because of um, something just came up after one of the patches. It opened the flaw again. And it says that this one may be vulnerable unless it's already patched. Let's see, 9.2.1. And here, this is how you'll see the ranges sometimes. Where it has to be OpenSSH version has to be greater than or equal to this or less than this. So old math stuff, right? And then we have to read vulnerable again due to removal of this. So it should be theoretically vulnerable. And now we need to understand how we're going to exploit it. So it gives us some code here. During the exploitation, the attacker adjusts the timing of their inputs based on feedback from previous attempts. This helps to fine tune the timing. It leverages predictable memory patterns and advanced timing techniques to bypass these protections. Successful exploitation allows the attacker to overwrite critical memory structures, leading to the execution of arbitrary code. This results in remote control of the server with root privileges. That's pretty baller. So this basically saying we win if we get it to work, you know. So going from nothing to root. So that's amazing. That's like the old SMB exploits. They're a good time. Now the problem is again we don't want to spend a ton of time developing code for this. But if someone else has code already developed, we're golden. We can download it, use it, and we're cool. So this has C code, so we'll have to compile it ourselves. And we'll have to actually add shellcode ourselves. So we'll have to generate shellcode for this to actually work. Shellcode is, and this won't mean anything to you, but it's position independent code. And that's basically whenever you see a lot of your advanced attackers or red teams, they use shellcode planted in a tool or another software, and that's what has like their C2 payload. It starts to show code, it executes, and then they get their connection back to the system. So pretty advanced for where we're at here, but what we can see here is they just have a NOP sled for their shellcode. So if we were to use this, we would generate shellcode, we would insert it here, and then potentially just hit go. But I don't see so in sock. So there should be a place. Okay, here it is. This is what I was looking for. So then we just pointed at a port and IP and it should work. So a little bit more work for this one. And we may try to do it as well because this might be fun, but I also don't want to overwhelm you with the steps that this is going to take. Um, Quite a complicated subject. You'll have to learn how to compile, you have to generate shell code, um, and then do it. Metasploit's a lot easier. Okay, so we have two options. Go ahead, Ugo. Question. Front of the
So,
class. Go.
I'm gonna send this into the chat.
I'm
I was,
sorry,
Who's?
y'all. I'm
Yeah,
trying
sorry.
to.
I'll mute you, Catherine, with the dog barking. Okay,
yeah.
go ahead, Ugo.
So this thing that I sent in, because from what you were saying, it's like we don't necessarily need to look for things that aren't going to help with an exploitation. So the thing that I sent in the chat, if you so there's the first moderate, the second one is low, and the third one, the third moderate, which is Apache HTTPS server, and it says um, server side request forgery. It says um, the HTTP server on Windows allows to potentially, says potentially, leak HTML hashes to a malicious server. Now I don't know if that's a thing or if that's something that could help, but I know that the HTLM hashes are something pretty like if you get a hold of that, it's basically like you have access.
Which one is it?
The
The moderate down here?
yeah the yeah the server side request forgery due to UNC
Yeah.
paths.
So yeah, that's a great conversation piece there, Ugo.
Mhm.
So the problem with this, we have to think about how do we trigger, how do we get NTLM hashes? Well, the exploit has to figure out somehow to get it to connect back to you and send you hashes, probably. So part of our attack will have to do that. And there are ways to do that. Like I do that with printers all the time. If I find them in an environment, I force them to authenticate with me and get the net NTLM hash. Sometimes if it's an administrator, I think I talked about this on Tuesday, I can relay it to another system, and that's as good as logging in with a password, just about, and it logs me in if it's administrator or if it has elevated permissions for whatever reason. But just something to think about. We look to seek to understand what we're seeing. How do we trigger it? What do we have to what things must be true for this to work? Um, and then what do we get out of it if it were to work? Those are the things we want to understand. So, out of the three, so this is likely, we also don't have exploit code at this point. That's another key. We need a proof of concept for it. So, proof of concept exploit code. We don't have for it. We could look up the CVE to see if it exists, but let's take a pause. We have two options. Which one would you choose as an attacker right now?
The one that you had that had MSF Venom in it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. MSF Venom is great, a good one to use. If there's MS Venom exploit, I almost always choose to use it, um, just because it's easy. Now, I don't always use the default payload, especially in the real world, because it's going to get caught and stopped, and you're not going to get anything for it.
Mhm,
And I make adjustments, but in here, we're not fighting antivirus, we're not fighting EDR, so it doesn't matter.
mhm.
We can just wreck shop
So,
and do our thing.
so in the real world, did you like? Do you have to make your own payload? I'm guessing, like, right in a certain way so it can get past.
Yeah, for sure. Or
Okay.
you just do like common stuff. It's not working as great anymore. Depends on how you do it. But what I'll have it do is, like one at a time, I'll have it depending on the access I get, right? Um, if it's a like something that'll give me a local admin, in which does happen because I've done this with SQL attacks as well, where I'll have it like I was saying, one at a time. I'll have it create a user. I'll exploit it again, have it add the user as administrator. If RDP is not open, I run it again, enable RDP, and then I log in. And so no exploit code, it just runs simple commands. Now, sometimes it might catch you adding it to an admin group, or it'll catch you enabling RDP, and you may have to do it differently, um, slightly differently. But again, that's more advanced stuff, and you can. That's a whole specialty in itself, or a whole skill set. Maybe not a specialty, but definitely a skill set you'd dive in on and learn. yourself, like spend some time to learn, all right, what types of tricks do I get or do I need to build up to get around this specific thing? It's fun. OSCP, the last certification I did, touched on that quite a bit. It was all about like, okay, OSCP, nothing's on. And so you can just run whatever exploits. When I did it, we weren't allowed to use Metasploit exploits. Well, we could use it once. That was it. Um, but with OSEP, they're like, okay, use Metasploit, but all your antivirus is on, all your security's on. So figure out how to get around it. So good luck. That's basically what they say. Okay. So Catherine's back. I can unmute you. Hey, it's quiet again.
Yeah. Thank
All
the
right.
Lord.
Yeah, thank the
What
Lord.
did I
Yeah.
miss? What did I miss?
Um, yeah, Ugo was found another potential attack. We didn't have a proof of concept, so exploit code. So we're going to move to use mine. I gave him the option. I said, which one sounds better? He said mine because it was built into Metasploit. So we're going to try mine first. If mine doesn't work, we'll move to Ugo's. And if that doesn't work, we'll see what happens. I hope this works. So next step is to spin up everyone's favorite thing, Metasploit.
And do you use Metasploit a lot in the real world, or is it
Like I
just
said, for quick stuff, if there's a vulnerability, I will.
Okay.
For if there's a vulnerability, I will. A lot of times I don't. Um, Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's a lot of like I think in a recent pen test I did because I just put a backdoor on a Linux system that didn't have anything, so it was a good case where I didn't have to avoid anything. I just dropped it in there and it gave me like a foothold, and then I actually launched all of my attacks from that Linux system, so it looked normal because they had things that could see network traffic, and I wanted to blend in, so they didn't see me like most of the pen tests actually because of that. So good times sometimes. Answers sometimes. A lot of people, especially if you're in a big organization as a consultant, you'll use things like Cobalt Strike or one of the bigger frameworks, and they have a lot of stuff built in because you're paying like I think it's like 5 grand or 10 grand a license for it. Pretty expensive. There's a lot of things you build in where randomly generates payloads, so they are more likely to bypass stuff, but again, one of the things you do as you get better, if that's something you've built a skill up on, you build a replica of your victim as close as possible in a lab. So maybe I have a VM with a Windows 11 system with Defender running, and I test my payloads in there before I run them against the actual victim. Because in some it's just tradecraft. Like I hate having to just bang on the door repeatedly when I can have a little bit more finesse. So work out a couple of variations and then run them against the victim itself. And usually it gets you right in, and you're less noisy, and it's less likely to block long term block your actions because they could do stuff like immediately just block your system. Some companies do that because they like to win. They're like, oh, we saw you, we blocked you. I'm like, okay, great. So I just try to be as sneaky as possible so I don't have to be like, let me back in, please. You know. Yeah.
On this, I'm looking at a cheat sheet. Have we tried the search exploit OpenSSH 9 point, what was it, 3? Did we try that?
So we don't need to because we manually searched. I prefer to manually search over search exploit for one reason, and that is because the world is more updated than search exploit. And not
Mm,
only that, but not every exploit is going to be in there. It
mm,
used to be more, but now a lot of times people are just dropping them into GitHub. So GitHub or a blog. So by just searching the internet, we have we can find a more variety of potential proof of concepts out there. That's the way a lot of, like, even the OSCP teaches you to use searchploit now. I don't. I guess because I'm too cool, but yeah. I mean, it's a cool idea. It's just not updated. Ooh, let's see. Is this not in here? Let's just look up search. They may have changed the name. Okay. How is this not in there? Let's check this. If not, we can download the POC. It'll run. It's just we'll have to make some slight adjustments because this will be a reverse shell. We actually don't need to launch it through Metasploit if it's not there. Still fairly easy to execute, not a big problem. So no results. Okay, that's fine. All right, so what we're going to do, because this is still, I agree, this is still probably the best route, is that we are going to manually execute this. So it's saying build our payload. That's what we're doing here. And then we launch a netcat listener. So this is going to catch the shell, or we can do it with Metasploit. And then we're going to, so this may not be a good one actually, because this is having us actually copy our exploit to the system. So this is, so here's the prerequisite, right? We don't have a user. We don't have a password. So it's not really going to help us. Let's look at the raw data. Let's look this up. Maybe there is a better explanation here. Maybe it doesn't require it. Oh, let's see. This is for Rocky Linux. All right, they have a write-up. Great. A remote code discover blah blah blah. An untrusted search path leads to an eval injection in which a database super user connects. So we have to be a database super user to use it. Okay, so it's not going to work. Thanks, person. All right, so we are down to, what was the other one? So actually, let me pause and talk about, because I said it really quick. So even though I just glanced at this, I was like, oh, okay, command execution. Oh, great. Unfortunately, what we also need is we need to have user access first. And according to the write-up, it said we needed super user access. So we need to be a database administrator before we can even do anything. So obviously, what do we need for this to be successful? We need a database user. We don't have that yet. So we need to find another way in first, at least to get that. So maybe that, maybe SQL injection, maybe something else. Who knows? But we can't use this yet. We'll put this on the shelf. Maybe we'll get to a point where we can use it. Maybe we'll find a different way in. Or maybe there's something better. Who knows? Let's see if there's anything else for it real quick. And one of the things we could do is that we haven't actually checked for passwords. And that could be a way in. Sometimes it is. Let's see, unauthorized. Let's see. Connect to Maria DB Cali. I always do Cali in here. because there are specific tools that are built in and usually give you a name. All right, so this is pretty much what the exploit said. You just log in just like this, which is kind of interesting. We don't know what the database is, though. Let's see what happens when we do this. So, admin, maybe. I don't know what it's going to be. We do want our password. So I like to build up my attacks in here first. That because it's easier, I can click around and make modifications before pasting it in the command line, where the command line you have to like move your cursor and it's slow. I don't know if this will work without me doing the database because we have no clue what the name of the database is. So that could be a problem, but quick check. Never hurts anyone. I'm gonna open up another terminal. See what happens. Oh, look at that. So it's not allowed to connect. So that's interesting. So this is security in place. We cannot directly connect to the database. So in my mind, because this is gamey, I'm thinking we figure out a way to get to database access through the web server. The web server can execute it and it'll look like it's running from itself, which is probably allowed because it's loopback and it has to be allowed or it wouldn't work. And if we use mine, it'll give us instant root access. So that's one path. So that's one path already in my mind. I'm building up attack paths as I go through stuff. So that's one thing in my mind. Now, shelve it because we have some work to do to get there. Now let's take a peek at the other thing that came about. This is how my mind works, man. Again, it's like what I say, like it's like, all right, what has to be true for this to work? What do I get out of it? So I build all that, it's there. And then if it comes up that I can use it, we'll use it. If not, whatever. Doesn't hurt anything. Um, let's see. We had an Apache one here. This one doesn't. This one's going to take forever to use. I thought we had one more. This one.
There you go.
Why do
So,
it keeps saying sorry, I'm just reading on this avoid enabling verify host key DNS unless necessary.
where are you at?
I'm looking. Never mind. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Never mind.
So we have to do a couple of things here. One of them is now we need to develop our shellcode. So, like, okay, what does that look like? I haven't done this on a Linux system in years, so bear with me. So I think it's just we just create shellcode with an interpreter. So we'll just type it in. No, MSF denim. And it should be, let's see, I think someone else. Oh, it's just the spam bots. Let's see. Should be, someone should have. So this is kind of what we want. We want something like this developed. So he should be able to give us a nice thing. So we'll take this. All right. We'll leave that up there. And I may be going way over the top here for what we need to do, but we'll see. Lhost, we need to fill this in. So basically what I'm doing right now is I'm constructing a command to generate our shellcode. So this is This is a command to a tool called MSF Venom that's going to generate the shellcode that we need. Once that's generated, we'll plug it into our exploit, then we'll compile our exploit, then we'll run our exploit. So that's the process we're working through here. So we just need to rebuild this for us. Port, we may not care. We do need to change our payload here. So let's see what's available. We know it's Linux, so we need a MSF Venom Linux payload. I have like all this stuff in a cheat sheet, but not bringing it out. It's easier this way so people can see what you do. So these are all the different payloads you can do. So one thing I do want to point out, we have two different shells that we can generate. Well, shells are basically divided into two sets, bind and reverse. Are either one of you familiar with that terminology?
I I know the reverse, or I think the reverse is like a actually, I'm gonna say no, so you can probably explain because I probably don't know. Yeah,
I've heard of reverse shell, but I couldn't tell you.
exactly.
Okay. So a bind means you're opening up the port on the victim and you're going to have to connect to it directly. So bind, you're binding, you're saying open up this window and then you need to connect to it later. A reverse shell says, "Hey, connect directly back to me on this port." Now, the benefits here, this is what's important for you. The benefits of a reverse shell are that outbound ports, so ports coming, like think about there's a firewall there, right? And the firewall's job is to stop incoming and outgoing traffic. But in most systems, all outgoing traffic is allowed for the local system, for the host itself. This is a host based firewall, not a network based firewall. Incoming, usually they're all closed unless they happen to be opened up in the local firewall, which means if you do a bind shell and you have no clue what port is actually open on the endpoint firewall, it's not coming. You're not going to be able to connect to it. It's not going to allow your connection. However, if you do a reverse shell, it's almost always going to come back to you. So that's how we look at it. Just use a reverse shell. Sometimes you do need to use a bind shell, but reverse for the win.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. So, like, what instance would you use a bind shell if it just makes the most sense to use a reverse shell?
Um, like maybe I want to set it to use it later, and I know that
Oh,
there's a port open.
okay.
Yeah. Let's see. So we'll use this one. Another thing you have to look at and understand too is the architecture. Something I want to point out. So there are two major types of architecture. There are others, but they're the two major ones: x86, x64. So if you've heard of 64-bit architecture, that's x64. Can you guess what x86 is?
84-bit.
32-bit. Yeah, so
Wow.
that's the two different ones. So
Okay.
in Windows, 32-bit can run on 64-bit, but 64-bit can't run on 32-bit. I don't know about Linux. I'm not a Linux SME by any means. You just try to match the architectures and you can't go wrong. If you know your exploit's working, it's just not calling back. Try the other architecture for your payload, and you should get a call back. Yeah. There you go. That's YOLO. That's what we're learning today. All right. So we're just going to replace this payload with the one we want because we know it's Linux because it said Debian. We know it's Linux and not Windows, so we need to use a Linux payload. Now we're going to check everything else. This matches. It has architecture here. Not necessary because it's going to interpret it from your payload. So you could actually take that out and it'll figure it out. Format is C. because this is C code. We need to make sure it's coming out in C format. Otherwise, it won't work on our code. It's going to break. So we need to match the language to the language of our exploit. And exploits could be in all kind of stuff, mostly Python and C for the most part, but there are others. All right, with that, these are bytes you don't want in the payload. That's what these mean, bad bytes, B for bad. If you're doing buffer overflow attacks, this is very important. And that's it's a whole thing in itself, figuring out what bytes are bad for that specific system. I'm not going to get into it. Maybe we'll do a buffer overflow class at some point. But that's what it means. Null bytes are almost always bad anyways. That's what 00, null. I'm trying to like minimize the amount of like stuff so that you can get a foundation faster versus me just blowing your brains up. All right. Now, um, what we want to do is I do want to open up our payload real quick. So let's do that. Or not our payload, our exploits. Let's open it up so we can work on it. If it loads. Open. I don't know why it's not opening. Yo, what is going on? Come on. I don't know what's going on. Let's see. We can go to it. And I think it's this regression one. So I think mouse pad is what it's called. And then we want 7E. One thing, oh yeah, it's warning me about root, whatever. One thing we do want to pay attention to with almost every exploit is we never want to use their payload anyways, because we don't know what they generated. So if they put their payload in there and it's supposed to call back to them, guess what? If you did it in a customer site, you're about to instantly give someone access you don't know if you leave it in there. So change your payloads. All right, so this is what we're building right now, and let's build it. Everyone ready? We're going to build your first payload. Looks like that window is tied up. I don't remember if I need sudo to create payloads, so we're going to do it anyways. So we can see, we look at it, looks good to me. We have our IP address. Incompatible character. Something's goofy. No platform selected. It's going to select that. No architecture selected. It's going to select x86. For some reason, it just does not like this. We'll try a different payload. Oh, okay, we got our payload. All right, I didn't know what was going on. All right, so this is what we got. We'll take this. Can you read that? You understand it? Yeah, you understand it? No? Okay,
I
good.
I do not understand it.
Sweet, me neither. And if you can see, um, it's pretty much the same, right? We see unsigned char. That is the data type that we're storing in here. So, cool. Yeah, it works. So what we do need to make sure we do, if I pasted this in there, we're going to be using a variable that's not in that's not in the exploit, and we would have broken the exploit. So we need to make sure we don't break the code. So I'm going to do this, and we may need to bring this line up here. Okay, cool. So that should work. We have our shellcode now. It should work anyways. And now we just need to compile the code. Now here's the tricky thing. This is going to fry your brains a little bit. And I forgot about this because I haven't done Linux in a while. The tricky thing is you have to compile it for your target system. It doesn't make sense to you yet. What I'm saying is, in Windows, it doesn't matter. If I compile it on one Windows system, it's going to work on another Windows system. If I compile this on my Linux system, it may not work on the other Linux system. Linux is super picky. So, but thankfully, this is running locally, so we may not have to worry about it. All right, so I need to figure out how to compile C code real quick. Compile C code, Callie. Sure. And GCC should be in here. So we should just have this. Okay. Let's give that a go, see if it works. One thing we do need to do is save. Great. And so we'll go CD downloads. Everyone understand like command line syntax? Like you see me CD and moving around, like you're good. Okay, good. LS, we're here. And so we just should have to do GCC, whatever the name of this file is. And I do tab complete. That's how you see me typing so quick. I just hit tab and it's like, done. A.out is our code. And we do need to transform it. And we still need to transform it. Oh, that's okay. I thought we had to transform it again. Maybe not. Let's see if it actually runs. Let's see what it says. We should have to. This is terrible security. Okay, perfect. It works. All right. So we have a compiled version. So something that if in case you don't know, extensions mean nothing in Linux. They don't care. Windows extensions mean everything if you're in the command line. The tool won't be able to run it even if it's in the right format. If the extension isn't correct, it may be like go kick rocks. Like I don't care. I'm not running this thing. So extensions that mean anything. So if you're seeing me running a .out, I can name it .zzzzz. It doesn't care. It's still going to run it. All right. So now we need to give it the IP and port. Oh man, this is a tough one today. Y'all making me work. Let's see. We want this. And what port are we running this on? Pop quiz. You're muted. Can't hear you, Ugo.
Which port is this one? Port. This is port 22.
Port 22. Winner, winner. All right. Port 22 because this is an SSH exploit. So we obviously need to target the service, the SSH service, which is on port 22. Cool. Any questions about that? Now, I don't know if this is going to work. It looks like it should work. We'll see. All right. So this, what you're seeing here is just telling you the syntax you need to utilize in order to execute it. And let me zoom in so everyone can see what we're doing here. So the first thing is the IP. The second thing is the port, and it's supposed to do the exploit and call back. We are forgetting one thing. Does anyone know what I'm actually forgetting right now to do? We're doing a reverse shell. What do we need to support that?
Your IP address or the port to call back to?
We need to set up a listener for it to call back to
Okay.
so that we can catch the reverse shell because we have to catch it. He's like throwing us the ball, but if my glove's not up, I'm not catching anything and it's just nothing's going to happen. So let's start a reverse shell. Now, we need one thing in order to figure out what we need for this. Where is it? I'm looking for, or here it is. So the one thing we do need is we need to know what port it's going to be calling back on. That's what we set here. Here, L is for listening port. So we need to set up a listener. And what I'm going to do actually is see if I can detach this. I thought you could. That's okay. We'll open up another terminal because I want you to see it catch it if it does actually, if it does work. Okay. So we'll elevate this, and then we're going to say nc l vp 444 because we set this port for it to call back to. We're telling netcat we want to listen, and v is just verbose. Tell us all the things. If it works, we get a shell. If it doesn't work, I don't know. Sometimes you can tell too if something's busted, you'll get a funky shell, and then it's just troubleshooting the shell. Who's ready for me to shut up and hit enter? Anyone? All right, here we go. I don't know what's going on. It's doing something. We're not getting a shell back. Maybe. The suspense is killing me. And sometimes, actually, let's read about it real quick. Sometimes we have to run it multiple times in order for it to actually work. It's just how it works. If I was, I just want to set the record straight because someone's going to troll me or say some junk. If this was the real world, I would have read all this thoroughly before I ran it, but I don't care because it's a lab environment. If we read this, it'll tell us like what we should be expecting after we execute. Let's see. 6 what allows the attacker to override critical memory structures leading to the execution of arbitrary code. Yeah, we didn't get a shell. Let's rerun it again. The other bad thing with buffer overflows, just so you're aware, is sometimes it crashes the service running. So that's another reason why you just don't want to YOLO and you want to build. Yeah, so we may have something wrong with our payload, actually. Let's take a look. Let's see if there's anything weird with it. The only thing that we have changed is our payload. We would have gotten compilation errors if there was a problem. Let's see. I'm just looking at the command. I didn't see any issues here. Oh, it says attempt 0 of 2000. Send packet resource temporarily available. So this may not be the route to go. Maybe. Interesting. Let's do something real quick. Let's read what this says to do. All right. Let's see. Gain a shell, find a way to escalate your privileges. So this may actually not be the route. We'll try it one more time. and see. And if not, we'll go back to the drawing board, which is okay. Stuff happens. This is a fun one. At least you get to see how you would compile and build it anyways. So a lot of times too, what they'll do with these boxes is even though there may be it looks like it's vulnerable, they may have done something in the background to patch it to force you to do it their intended way. That's how just some of these are. They want to force you down a specific path. Um, so is what it is. Okay, so let's go back to the website if it will let us, and see if it will give us any information. So this has some sort of checking. Let's see. What did we say this was? Magnus billing. Let's do a search for that, actually. Let's see if that's vulnerable to anything. All right. So yeah, this application itself is vulnerable, perhaps. So that was one thing we didn't check. We got so excited about all these other ones, we missed this one. So this is just a case of we're looking at different levels. So you have the service, there's a web service itself, there's Apache running, but there's a web service running on top of Apache. So think about it in layers. We have Magnus billing that's running on top of Apache, that's running on top of a Debian system. So these are different layers that we can target.
Is that why in the everything scan, the -A scan, when you go to the trace route, it said that it hops twice?
No.
Okay.
So the hops is the networking hops.
Okay.
So it could be going through a router or however it made its way to the system.
Okay.
That's what that is. Yeah. We don't. So the bad thing about this, and this may just be a YOLO one, is that we don't know the version of Magnus at all. Unfortunately, I didn't see it in the scan. Did anyone see it at all, or was I just blind? So yeah, we don't actually have a version, and I didn't see a version under the hood when we did a view source, which I would expect. So this is kind of a shot in the dark. However, whatever, right? Let's see. We do have a matching one. So syntax here is use, and you can give it a number. So use 0, show payloads. Let me zoom in so people can see what I'm doing. Is that better?
Sorry. Sorry, go ahead. I'll have a question when you're done.
No, go ahead. What's your question?
If we go back to the TryHackMe, the first question that we have to answer,
Yep.
what is user.text?
So this is the format that the flags are in. You'll have a user.text when you get your initial foothold, and then typically you'll have a root.text when you escalate privileges. So that's just how
Okay.
they do it. When you can get access to those files, you cat them or look at them, and then you just put in the flag in here. So you can see
But
that's the format they're expecting.
to do that, we have to escalate privileges first.
To do that, we have to get a foothold. So we need to get some exploit working so that we can run commands on the operating system itself. So, for instance, even if we got root level access or administrator level access in the web application itself, we still haven't gotten access to the operating system, which is where we need to get to, right? We need to tunnel through those layers and our goal is to get root. So we need to go from nothing to access to the web application or database, then down to like at least a user level in the operating system, then to root. So we're tunneling through this thing and just working our way through the levels. Sometimes you can skip. I don't know what we'll get if we're successful here. I assume we'll get user. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
Maybe that's what it wants us to do. Maybe we do this and then we do my database one. I don't know. We'll see. It's still there. It's on the shelf. I'm waiting for it. All right, you good? Was that a good answer?
That was perfect.
Good
Thank
answer.
you.
Good answer. You know, was it Family Feud? All right, so let's talk about the exploit here. Has anyone used Metasploit before? You probably haven't, Catherine. Have you, Ugo? Yeah. Okay. So let me just do a short segue here. So what I did is a lot of times the reason I say I like Metasploit exploits is because you can just search and then load the exploit, and then you just give it the right configurations, the right settings, and then you hit go and success if it works, right? So that's why I like them. And I always do show options so we can see what options we need to fill in order to get the exploit to work. What we're looking to do is fill in the ones that say yes, required under this required column. So really, we need the R host, which is the victim. We need the IP for that. We need the R port. We already know it's port 80. So that's the victim's port that the application is running on. We need the target URI / imbilling in this case, which, yeah, makes sense. That's exactly what we're seeing. Then we need to know server host. So this is where we're serving files from. So this is us. 000 is us. 8080 is our port. We just have to make sure we don't have anything running on 8080, or it won't be able to work. And then the payload. So this is our payload. It's a PHP, which sucks, but it's typically what you have to deal with web applications, and then you change to another type of shell that's more stable. PHP is just very unstable, and it's really crappy to work in. So you almost immediately change to a new type of shell that's better. This you'll learn as you're playing with it. He's like, oh yeah, he's right. Like you probably don't understand why I say it sucks, but you will when you start doing it. Like, oh yeah, he's right. For our payload, again, we need to give it the L host, which is the listening host. That's us because it's a reverse shell, right? And then we need to give it a listening port. So here's something to think about. We always need to be cognizant of what we have running on our system. If we ran this now, it would break. Does anyone know why it would break? Just talking about this section here.
Because of the one that we was it a out? I think that was what it was called.
Yeah, we have
Yeah,
something listening, blocking the port. So
yeah,
nothing else can use this port currently. We solved that by saying, go away. Now we freed the port. Now we can utilize it. Make sense? All right, so let's go ahead and configure this bad boy. We're going to set that. I like to just work top to bottom. Makes things easy, right? So we'll grab this. We'll say set R host. Give it the number. Set L host. I'll just give it the interface, which is ton 0. And that's it. That should be everything we need to do. Now we cross our fingers and hit run. So this is a command injection. I think Catherine mentioned command injection, right? I think you said that earlier.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Let me see.
She said SQL injection.
I thought she said command injection too, but that's okay. So this is it's utilizing a command injection. That means we can run. You'll hear this word and it sounds foreign to people who, I guess, who haven't been doing this well. Arbitrary commands. That means you can run whatever you want, but that's the buzzword, right? In offensive security, arbitrary commands. Um, and so we can just inject whatever command we want, and it will run it. In this case, the exploit ran our shell. It grabbed the shell, ran it, and guess what? We have a interpreter shell here at the bottom. It worked. How do we tell it worked? You say get UID. Our username is asterisk. You're muted, Ugo.
Yeah. So I guess that would be the username for the website,
No,
or
this is the username on the server. So
that's
we
stored
have
in.
through all that, we are down to the operating system right now
Okay.
as a mate. Well, we don't know what we have. We just know we're a user at the moment.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah. So now when we're looking at the attack chain, we've done discovery, we've done exploitation, we have our foothold. Now we need to do what's called post exploitation enumeration. Mouthful. So we need to figure out what do we get with all this hard work? And then from that, we'll move to privilege escalation and lateral movement. Make sense? All these are the words familiar at least? I know it's okay, good. Phew. Whew, that was hard work. 2 hours later. All right, next time, Ugo's going to drive the whole ship. Um, well, I wish your computer worked, and then after we did this, I'd be like, "All right, you do it. Show us that you can do it
Right.
now."
I wish my
Yeah.
computer wasn't always going to space and it just stayed here on Earth so we could, get some stuff done.
That's how Catherine's is. Hers is that she says she's worried about it blowing up.
Yes, it's
Uh,
literally hot right now as we speak.
all right, so let's do our enumeration. First things first. Sometimes what I'll do is since I'm so this is where we're at. So let me take a chance to educate you on um, file structure of systems. So there's two different root directories on a system if there's a web server. There's a web root. We're in web root. That's what this is. Then there's an operating system root, which is usually for Windows, it's C or whatever drive letter. And then for Linux, it's slash, right? The lowest part you can get. And for a web server, what that means, and it could be in billing actually. It may have dropped us further in, but it means like if you went to um, whatever this website is, like right here, like without the slash, where on the file system are you? Like when I go to just slash, that's the web root. So wherever that's at on the operating system, this is the web root. And that may or may not be where we're at here, but it may be back. I say maybe not because it's in lib, which makes me think it's further back. Maybe back in billing, maybe the actual web root. And I say that just to orient you, not to confuse you, although it may be confusing. I'm just trying to orient you. Um, because when you start doing other attacks where you're targeting specific files on the operating system, or you're trying to navigate the operating system to get somewhere through the web server, you have to orient yourself and know where you're at to get to where you need to go. Like it's a whole game. It's like being in a dark room, but you've been in the house before and someone just drops you in a random room. You have to be able to figure out how to get out without actually being able to see with your eyes. So that's why I say like a lot of this is just visualizing what's going on behind the scenes. And that goes a long ways because a lot of times you're blind and you just have to feel around. Make sense? Okay, cool. All right, so let's start exploring. Let's put on our hats here, exploratory hats. So this is the web application. Some of the fun stuff we can get with web applications is, and we may not get it here. Well, maybe we'll get it here. Is we can get information of how it connects to the database. A lot of times it's in plain text. It used to be that way. Maybe not so much more with modern web applications, but I would say it's 50-50 whether or not I find database credentials sitting in plain text on a server. 50-50. They should be encrypting them. They don't always. Uh, so that would be one of the first things I look for while we're in here. Try to figure out where the database configuration is, and let's take a peek at it, because we may be able to use that and do my other trick and go from this to root because we have super admin because we get the database credential. I'm trying so hard to use my exploit that I got. Um, what we're looking so there's specific file I'm looking for in here. Um, and it's usually I forget the name of it, but I'll see it. I'll know it when I see it. Maybe archive might have it, assets might have it. There's a specific file usually that they put all the configurations in. Maybe protected, maybe resources. Ye okay, so we'll go through these one at a time. We'll just ls them, see what we can see. Let's see, ls archive. You won't let me autocomplete? What is this trash? Oh, it's PHP, that's why. Oh, so they're I think they just put junk in here to screw with us and make it harder to find. Um, I, that's what makes me think it's in here somewhere. It wouldn't be a JavaScript file. Um, might not have access to that. What did I do? Resources? No, we did archive. Let's see. ls resources. Yeah, index.php. Maybe, maybe not.
Would that username asterisk be a good place?
Might be. I mean, we can check it out. It doesn't hurt. So we can do cat asterisk m billing php. And we're looking. I don't think this is going to have what we're have, but you can see. Look at here. So we can see where it is doing SQL queries. Now, the fun thing with us looking through these PHP files is we should see where it's pointing us to where the file is, because in order to run these SQL queries, it has to get to the database. So somewhere, if we follow the path of these scripts calling stuff, we can figure out where the database call is. So we may be lost, but we will find where we're going eventually. um, let's see, and there may be. So that's interesting. There may be AG where so so it should be in here technically. One of these files should tell us authenticate AG, maybe asterisk access, maybe. But usually there's a specific file. Let's see, Magnus. We can also look it up. Magnus billing database connector. It's usually called like connector or something like that as the file I'm looking for. Yeesh. Database isn't a word in here. Oh, I spelled it wrong. So if we update, oh, well, we still don't know the password. So that's what we're looking to get. But what I'm looking for is how does it connect to the database? There should be, like I said, some file where it tells us how it's connecting to the database. There's only 3 of 3 matches. So this is interesting. PHP my admin. We could also ask ChatGPT or AI mode.
My best friend chat.
Yeah. How does Magnus, or let's see, no, where is the database connector file stored for Magnus billing application? Etsy asterisk. Okay, let's go find that file. All right, sure. So let's see, cd/etsy. And let's see if asterisks. Sheesh. Ah, there it is. Well, first let's back up. Let's get our user file for Catherine because she was asking what that was. So let's go cd home. So we can see there's 2 different users here. We have Debian, Magnus, and SSM user. Well, one, I don't know where the user.txt file would be. I don't know which user we have. But, well, let's try cd Magnus. Oh, there it is. Cat user.txt. There we go. So this is your file we were looking for. So we take this, we drop it in here. And as you can see, like it's the exact format. So you know if you got the right thing. All right. First points. Time to escalate. Any questions, Catherine? Because this is your first time doing like a CTF type box, right? Capture the flag. What? Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Ugo picked a interesting one for you. No, this actually wasn't that bad. My problem is I try way too hard for easy stuff and it screws me and I waste so much time trying to go way too hard. But I mean, I learn something all the time anyway, so who cares? That's the point.
Yeah, and I definitely learned something from going all the different routes. So
That's good. Hopefully I didn't warp your brain too much. Let's see.
I like that. This is like, it's basically just going down rabbit hole after rabbit hole.
Yeah, and the trick is to figure out when to like stop going down a rabbit hole because it's wasting your time.
I know.
As you can see, I pivot pretty quick if I don't think it's working out. So it's like, okay, next. Oh, next.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. Let's cd to Etsy. It's really annoying me that we're in this PHP shell still, but that's okay. All right. And we're looking for resconfig mysql.conf. Bingo. Bingo. All right. So there we go. I don't know. The problem is we don't know what access this has, but yeah, I mean, it did what I was looking for. And this is just experience with web applications and CTFs and certifications. I know if there's a database There's a file somewhere on the system that tells the application how to access that database all the time. It's got to be somewhere. The only question is whether or not it's readable. So like this, we can see the password, but that may not always be the case. Okay, so one thing we 100% have to do, we have to change from a PHP shell, or we won't be able to exploit this thing. We have to.
Why is that?
PHP shell is going to break.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so I think what we'll do is SSH into this using the user, and that should give us a stable shell, and that should allow us to do what we need to do. So this is part of the game too. This is a whole skill set that you need to use or learn how to use as an attacker or as a pen tester is the different shells. How do I swap one shell out for the other? When do I need to do one from the other? Hint: if you're in a web shell, change to a different shell. Period. Just do it. How you do that, that's a matter of what you prefer, how you want to do it. In this case, I think it's better. SSH shells are very stable. We can interact with it just like anything. And we don't have to worry about weird stuff going on in the background that could break our attacks. That's the key, right? If we're like PHP could break some of our attacks, and we'll have to adapt our attack in order to get it to work in some cases to PHP. And some things we actually can't do, especially if it requires like a pause and you to give additional input after you're doing something. Like, for instance, change password. You like say change password and then it's supposed to prompt you. Well, that may break in this PHP shell and I couldn't provide additional access. Or say I wanted to use Vim and go into a file and manipulate it. Can't do it in a PHP shell either. So, like I said, there's certain constraints we have. Again, we realize what do we have? What do we need to do? Where do we need to go? So, I know I need a stable shell, and it needs to be stable in order to do some of the exploits we need to do. SSH, easy if I can do that. I have access to the user. I don't remember. This is only if I have access to the user's the ability to drop a SSH config into the user account. So let's go down that road. Follow me as we travel. Let's see, CD Magnus ls tag la. Oh, we have a SSH here. So CD. Maybe we don't need to. Maybe I just have to pull the file down. Oof. Okay, we don't have access. Yeah, we can see that too in our privileges. We only have read access to user. We only have write access to bash history. Let's take a gander at bash history real quick, see if we have anything in there. All right, so we can't do an SSH cell. There's nothing in bash history. What we can do is we can generate a this stuff confuses my dad too. I always have to talk him through doing these. What we're going to do is we're going to generate a interpreter payload, a proper one for Linux. We're going to transfer it to the system. We're going to create a listener for it in Metasploit, and then we're going to kick it off in the background. Boom, we'll have a more stable shell. Got it? Repeat it again. No, okay. All right, so let's generate our shellcode, our payload. So we want um, a Linux payload. So let's see. I think we have it somewhere. Don't need that. Don't need that. We'll keep this up because it was useful. And we also want this MariaDB one because I think we're going to use this. um, and I hope we're going to use it, I hope. And we need, here we go. So we need a Linux reverse shell. I don't want this, I want an ELF file. I don't want to bind shell. We want to reverse shell. We want to interpret a reverse shell too. So let's see. MSF Venom interpreter reverse. Well, this would be lovely if this is correct. We'll try it. I'll trust you today, AI. Usually you screw me every time I trust you, but that's okay. All right, so we can steal some of this up here. So we'll steal the L host. And guess what? We need a different port. Why? Because our port is probably binded at the moment for the other one. Maybe, maybe not. Anything can do. So we can do the old leet port, and it should work. Looks correct unless something's wrong with this, but it looks fine at first glance. Let's generate this. And we need to know where it's going. It's going into Callie's home directory because we're going to have to transfer it. So we need to know. No issues. Beautiful. All right. Now we are going to go back to our shell. And one thing to keep in mind is we need to be able to we have to have right permissions to wherever we're putting this. This is what's important for us. So for instance, we couldn't place it in Magnus because we probably don't have right permissions. I don't think. No, if you look, we only have read execute, so we can't write to that. Can you read the permissions? You see what I'm looking at here? We're looking at the last set read execute because that's for everyone else. So we're probably everyone else. I doubt we're the owner for these. So read execute. We need something where we have write. Does anyone know where we probably have write privileges? This is a classic location. Let's see if anyone knows. You're on mute, bud.
Yeah, I was thinking out loud.
Ah,
Um,
go ahead. Think out loud.
where
Think out so we can hear you.
you have write permissions in your user file.
Uh, we don't have a user file. We are
Mm,
asterisk. Asterisk is not in here as a user. They don't have a home folder.
mm,
But that's a good point. If we have write access to any of the application folders, which we may, we can write there. That's true. We could do that. What's the classic place that every user has write access though in a Linux system?
I've never learned that. Wow. Um, hmm.
It's in here. See if you can find one.
Oh, home or user.
What you mean home? You have read execute home.
I'm not even looking at this. Um,
I'm sorry.
right
Did
there,
you answer
temp.
the question of where it usually is? My babysitter called, so I had to answer that.
Oh yeah, no worries. No, he's still figuring out. So we're looking for a place we have write access. If you
Okay.
can see it, holler it out, Catherine.
Is it on the screen
Yeah, it's on the screen.
where we have write access?
Yeah.
I
Is it
found it.
in var? Wait, what am I looking?
You're looking
Oh,
in this row
that
for
row.
write access. Yeah.
Oh, anything with a W, right?
In this row. Yep. There's only one.
Let me zoom in.
Ah, can you not see it?
I can now. I just zoomed in really far. I got it.
You're getting old.
I am. um,
Do you see it, Ugo, yet?
Yeah.
Oh, you found it?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. Holler it
Oh,
out. What is it?
temp. temporary.
Temp. Yes, that is a classic folder that everyone pretty much can write in. Same for Windows, except a C Windows temp. Okay, temp, temporary folder. A lot of hackers are used to, not anymore. Um, well, sometimes, but it would write to this because it's volatile. On a reboot, everything in temp is gone, so it can clean up after you, basically. All right, so let's go there. CD slash sleep. Yeah,
How
CD
come the
temp.
rest of them have a W? Like, so if you can you not can you write to the rest of them, or is
No.
that is temp so like
So
yeah like
permissions are broken
Ben
up in three groups. So
okay
the first, they're in triplets. I don't know how they're called. So it's rewrite, execute. Those are the three things for every user for every set. So the first three
mm-hmm.
are for the owner. The second three are for the group, I believe, and then the last one is for everyone else.
Okay, and
So we
so
are everyone else. So we're only looking in the last three.
oh I see what you're saying. Okay, cool.
Okay, got it.
Yes, got it. Good to know.
Sweet. All right, now we're going to upload our payload we created. So here's the thing, right? When I'm talking about imagining where we're at, what we don't remember, because I know I surely don't remember, is what directory we're in. So I can navigate to find the payload I just created to get it over here. I think it's desktop. So if it's desktop, we're in home Cali. That's where our payload's at that we generated. We need to navigate there. So we'll say um, home Cali, and then we want reverse dot sh dot elf. That payload we created is now on our victim. You see that? Now you can't just execute stuff on Linux. You have to change permissions to execute. As you can see, we don't have execute permissions. We need to give it execute. That's how you run stuff. So I'm always lazy because I forget what the numbers mean, but 777 just says read, write, execute for everyone. So I'll do that with payloads in this environment. Uh, all right. So you see that? Read, write, execute across the board now. Yeah. So the numbers translate to different things. So I think it's like 7, 5, and 1, maybe, or 3, 7, 5. I forget. Um, It's definitely 7, 5, and there's one more for just like for the because they add up. I think it's one. No, it wouldn't be 1 through 5. What would it be? Is it 1, 2, 3? No, that wouldn't be enough either. Because that would only be 5, 6. Man, this is gonna bother me. Anyways, whatever. Shamad is how you change permissions. So then we just gave it the number we wanted. So 777, like all. That's the only numbers I have memorized. Um, we could actually probably ask what it means. Ah, here we go. 4, 2, 1. 4 is read, 2 is write, 1 is execute. And then you just do math. So you just add up whatever you want to for the number. So if we wanted it read write, we would say 6. If we wanted read execute, it'd be 5. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah. This is why I didn't remember. I forget the numbers. Yeah. Okay, cool. Everyone's tracking. All right. All right. So next thing, that thing's done. Um, Now we need to start a listener to catch our next shell. So what we're going to do is we're going to background our current shell, set up a listener, run it in the background, then we'll go back into our shell that's working and we'll kick off our payload that'll create a new shell and then we'll hop into that shell and continue working. Draw it out on a map. you know? Okay, here we go. So we're going to say background, use exploits, multi handler. I just know this from the top of my head. And now we need to set the multi handler payload because you see how it says generic shell TCP. This is the payload. So we need to match this payload to what it says over here, to the thing we created. So that'll be our first order of business. Set payload. In case you haven't figured out set and then the field that you want to change, that's all you need to do. So now we're set. Show options. So you can see that our payload is set correctly. Now we need to set lhost and lport. Set lhost to tune 0. Ooh, we're running out of time. We got to hurry up. And set lport to 1334. Show options. Everything looks good. Run.j should run it in the background if I remember correctly. Okay. So we ran a listener. It's just hanging out in the background waiting to catch something. So it's just hanging there. Okay. Now we have to resume our previous session. Okay. All right. So we're going to say session. I think it's 1. Now we're back into our working session. um, and I forget how to run Linux stuff in the background. I think it's the and symbol, if I remember correctly. Let's see, run Linux command in background. Okay, just add an and. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to kick it off. We're going to say shell to go into a shell. Just bear with me. And we have our file here. We're going to say /reverse sh.elf and to tell it to run in the background. And we should see where it says another session has been created in Metasploit. Should. Bingo. We got our shell. So now we have 2 sessions. All right, sessions. Show sessions. What is it? I forget what it is. Sessions, list sessions, Metasploit, show sessions, managing sessions. That's not what I wanted. Maybe we just do sessions.h and it will tell us. Let's do, probably because of where we're at. So background session, sessions. All right, there we go. It was because it was trying to run sessions in Meterpreter and we want to run it outside of the Meterpreter shell. So this is visualizing again. You got to keep in your mind all these different things where you're at. All right. Woo. All right. So we have 2 sessions. If we look, we can see our different types of payloads. So this is our PHP. This is session number 1. So this is the first one we got with the exploit code. And this is session number 2 that we got by being cool. So we're going to go into session 2 because that's how we're going to be able to interact with stuff. And we may need to do some goofy stuff to get it to work, but let's give it a try. See what happens. All right, so we're in here now. We need to see if we can do some exploitation. We do know that we don't need this anymore. We do know that whatever we do, we have to do it from this system because the only thing that's allowed is loopback. So we can only talk to itself. And this may or may not work. I'm sure we could get it to work at some point. And the intended path may be something different, so we may get bogged down again. But we're going to give it a try. Um, what we'll need to do is utilize this command here. So we do actually have a database this time, if you notice. So it is this. So we're going to try to access it. And this user also may not have the privileges that we need. So this may be a dead end as well. Um, but we'll see. Shit. That's the downside of these shells. They're hinky. We want to change this to 127.0.0.1, right? Loopback. It's talking to itself. All right. That's again why I use that notepad. It's just easier to work in. So it's asking for a password. Don't know. So this may be a case where we still don't have the type of shell we need, but we'll give it a second, see what happens. We could also try maybe trying to get on the outside. Just sanity check. Well, first let me do this. We may be able to do, we could always do like some kind of weird tunnel. Like this is me and my toolkit, like trying to whip out tricks. We could tunnel the command through it, and then it thinks it's getting it from itself. That's an option. Um, we'll see. And what I'll probably end up doing is cheating in a second and see how other people did it because 9 o'clock. It's almost time to hop off, and I want to finish. But this is fun, just playing around and exploring. Though you learn a lot this way, um, and like I said, if you take notes, it'll be a much quicker iteration. So what I was
So
doing. Oh, go ahead.
can do we know who the user is, right?
Yep.
Okay. I'm sorry, we might have already gone over this. I'm gonna feel stupid asking this. So we can't use SSH user at and then the IP.
Because that's an SSH connection. We
Got
don't.
okay.
We only have the user and password for the database. The problem
Got it.
is that this is not allowing us to connect to the database from the outside.
Okay.
So we have to figure out how to do it from the inside and get a good session from the inside. What I think I might do real quick is
Stop. Hush. My dog
we'll.
usually gets go go on. My dog usually gets her walk, so she's like looking at
Oh,
me and just barking. Maggie, outside.
let's look in some of these other ones real quick to see if we have access to write an SSH key, because that's the easiest way by far. Hash rewrite execute. Um, let's just do an ls. Read. Okay. We need a way to do TTY. So let me actually just um, try one more thing to do TTY, and then we'll try to connect again. So TTY is just changing the way you can interact with the shell. TTY shells pen test. Sure. I'm looking for fully interact. We want an interactive shell as a problem. And so we may be able to do this as Python. I haven't even looked to see if Python is in here, but I'm a YOLO and no Python, so it won't work. All right, next one. So cat's not in there. Probably we'd have to download it. Whoa, this is a crazy one. Upgrading from Netcat with Magic. I wonder if there's a way to do it with Metasploit. Let's see, Metasploit CTY.
What level is this lab?
This is easy. That's what I said earlier. I was probably making things way more difficult than they need to be, so just ignore me. Sometimes. We'll learn a lot on the journey. Uh, all right. All right, let's
I have
cheat. Fine, fine,
I've
fine.
learned I've learned a lot. I have learned a lot. I feel like I've just been a sponge this whole time.
Oh, good. That's what I want to see. All right, so here we are. Yep, yep, yep. Oh, they did it a different way. Okay, they're using the same technique. We got that. So they tried the same thing, no SSH. Oh, we can use sudoers. So sudoers is a fun thing. So sudo tag L. The problem is we don't have a password. Oh, without a password. Oh, it said as no password. Oops. Let's see if there's an entry. Let's see. Da, da, da. All right, he's still screwing around with that. He tried to upgrade shell. Python's not on there. It won't work. Oof, this guy's walking all the way through his mindset. I like these types. These are fun. However, I'm trying to move faster. And we get our flag too. Okay, cool. All right, so here's the stuff. So from what we have, I think we have set asterisk IP tables, action IP tables, all ports, action band, CMD. Set asterisk tables, blah blah blah, chmod bash, IP tables, chmod slash bin bash. Oh, so it elevated his shell that way. Oh man, I wish he had like pasted the commands in here so I can just copy them. Let me see if I can find another one where I can just copy. I don't want to type all that. That was a pretty lengthy attack. Um, all right, so
Can
with
we
all this,
can we come back to this lab next week too?
sure. All right, so yeah, we can talk through some of this stuff because this takes a lot more explanation. So this is actually going to have a reverse shell to us. So let's set that up real quick over here. So let's just do a different port. Um, this. Let's do 4443. That's listening. Our IP is this. What the heck? Here we go. Port is this. So the gist is that we can run this as a elevated user. So right here. So we can run this as a elevated user, and basically they're taking advantage of stringing multiple commands in. So with this, we can also do like a -c, um, or we can run a command at the end of it is, and this is what we're running at the end of it. So it's pretty goofy. We can talk about it. Um, this is a pretty common privilege escalation type technique. Oops. There we go. And we should see it connect back. Should. Four 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 three. Unless my IP is wrong. And nope, that should be correct. So we have something's up with it. Let's see. Could be something's not closed out correctly. Um, let's look after modifying. This command modifies action ban rule set for SSHD replace the default IP ban action with a reverse shell. Normally executes that. However, by injecting my command, I can ensure banning an IP failed to ban will execute my reverse shell. After modifying the action burn rule, I set up a listener. Lastly, I execute the following command. Okay, so we need to execute one more command. Come on. Bingo. It worked. Money. All right. We made it. All right. So we are going to get the last flag. Um, oop. I'm sad we didn't get to use my exploit. That is what I'm upset about tonight. I really wanted to use my MariaDB exploit. But Catherine, yeah, I guess remember this box that we're working on. We can come back and actually spend some time talking through this and working through it and playing with it. Because these types of attacks are fun in that what you decide to do with them is limitless. And this is really up to what you prefer. Like this one just did a simple reverse shell, but we could have literally executed anything we wanted. Like we could have kicked off our other shell with this um, and gotten a root level interpreter shell. Like we have complete control to run any type of command we want with this specific attack. So this is just one example, but it'd be cool to explore and show some variations of what we want to do with it, because it is up to us at the end of the day. Like we could even had it like write Etsy shadow to a file, and we could just pull those and then crack passwords if we want, like literally whatever you want to do with it. Yeah. So, all right. That's it. Is there any last questions? Look at this. Congratulations. Anything outstanding before we hop off for the evening?
No, I appreciate it. I'm gonna see if I can do it from scratch just right now. I'd see if I could do it. But no, I definitely learned a lot. So I appreciate that.
Cool. You
That
good
was
as well?
fun.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Come back and play next week now. Yeah, I mean, legitimately offers open anytime you want to come on, let me know. I'll kick you over the invite and hop on here and do stuff when both of you get some working laptops you can drive. It's you'll learn more when you're doing it. It'll be a little bit more frustrating. We won't get as far, but that's okay. We're here for the journey. That's all. Cool. All
Yeah.
right.
Sounds good.
Good night. Good luck studying, Catherine. Good luck with all
Thank
your
you.
endeavors, Zuko. Maybe we'll get on early next time and we can collab on Twitch, like do a whatever collaboration stream. Yeah. See you later, everyone.
This was really fun. Thank you,
It
Michael.
was. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Or Mike. Sorry. I forget. I forget you go by